Over on LinkedIn, I asked the question, did you yell at your kids this weekend? Now, that's a really kind of touchy topic. It's not one that most dads will out themselves with, but it got a lot of traction. And I had a few dads reach out about it. Not in a way like, how dare you accuse me of yelling at my kids? It's my God given right to yell at my kids. It was actually reshared again today with a follow up of, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. And that phrase is something that many dads, not necessarily from our generation, but from the previous generation, I feel like it's a very stereotypical of stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about type reaction to these emotions that kids bring. And part of my own story is coming up on about a year now. So last year around Thanksgiving, I had a really hard day with my daughter. And I ended up yelling at her really bad. And it was just, I lost my cool. I was tired. Her behavior was just out of control. And I lost it. And I remember that night sitting down at my keyboard and Googling how to stop screaming at my kids, how to stop yelling at my kids. And I found all of these great resources. One of them was Scream Free Parenting. So much to the point that I'm actually now a Scream Free Parent certified trainer, because the training resonated with me that much. And what I've learned about screaming is that this idea isn't that they're screaming and that we can't handle it and that there's some tool for us to make them stop screaming. It's actually, how do we stop the screaming on the inside? Because a kid screaming has nothing to do with us in general, but it has everything to do with us in the end. Because when they're screaming, it's how it makes us feel. That's really the part that's uncomfortable, because we're reliving a moment of someone screaming at us and we don't want it. And maybe we don't really feel safe with emotions. We don't like people expressing emotions. So we try to control other people's emotions, and kids' emotions are usually out of control. And so you're trying to control them because you're trying to pull them back down. This isn't what kids need. Kids need to know that even while they're losing their mind on whatever emotion of the moment that it is, that they can count on you. Just like pi in mathematics is always 3.14. They need to know that you were always 3.14, no matter how much they don't know how to calm this feeling. Remember, no matter what age your kids, mine are 7, 7, and 5. They've only been on this earth for 9 years, 7 years, and 5 years. That's it. Their entire worldly experience of emotions, life, and how to react is based on our reaction. So if you did yell at your kids, if you wonder where it came from, it's most likely an emotion that's been modeled by you. And that's true in my life in the early years. And obviously even as recent as last year. And there's even been a few times where I've lost my cool this year. And it's like, it's that moment that it has nothing to do with them. It's, I can't take the feeling on the inside anymore, and I just lose it. And I want them to stop so I can stop feeling a certain way. I say all of this not to shame you, not to provide judgment, but to give you acceptance. I want you to understand that this is something that we all go through. This is something we all grow through. The difference is you first have to admit that maybe there's a better way. There are solutions out there that can help me. There is a reason why Scream Free Parenting content is an entire week of my coaching. An entire week is focused on how do we create more intentional connection, how do we create more psychological safety with our kids, and how can we model a reaction that we want them to take. And like I've talked about, parenting is about parenting to the curve. How do you model a reaction that on the curve, you're going to get to a place that you want them to be? You want them to understand this is what a healthy, calm, grown-up adult looks, sounds, and feels like. That's who we're raising as kids. We're raising adults, mature ones that are capable of controlling their emotions, that are capable of understanding when to navigate, that are capable of understanding expressing them in healthy ways. Now, screaming isn't a healthy way to express emotion, but to kids that don't have any better tools or don't know any better or have watched the people around them handle it in that way, that is often where our emotions go in this moment. So if you did yell at your kids, give yourself some grace. But two, realize if you're listening to this podcast, hearing that, and maybe you've never Googled it like I did, or maybe you've never reached out to people that help, I'd love to have a conversation. head on over to bencloy.com. There's a link to schedule a call there. My goal with that call is to help you understand and create clarity around this problem or any problem you have in your life. Maybe you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, several months now, and you've been wondering, like, what's the next step? What's my invitation to try to really implement this stuff on a deep level to really get where we want to go? Head on over to bencloy.com, book a clarity call. Those calls are meant for a couple things. One, to see maybe if you are a good fit for the program that I've designed. But two, at the bare basis, to give you clarity on what you want. That is my gift to you. Every time someone books a call with me, I'm always helping them understand and get clear on the problem, because until we have clarity on the problem, it's really difficult to even understand what's the problem and what's going to actually fix it. So just as much as you're getting clarity, I'm looking at you and understanding whether you are a good fit for the program. And that is how we can fix these issues. That is how we can find better ways to stop yelling at our kids. I remember one client, and specifically, his problem when he first started working with me was, I don't know why I can't stop yelling at my 5-year-old. And very quickly we learned it's because his dad did it. Within maybe like 2 days, he realized that he could interrupt the pattern, apply a new pattern of intention in which way he wanted. Now, sometimes it's not always that simple. Sometimes there's a lot of layers to this that we have to unpack of where this emotion is coming from or what story is. But man, guys, it doesn't have to be this simple. And there's a new pattern that you can create every time you have an opportunity to remain calm or scream. This was a little bit longer of an episode, but this is an important topic. And this is a topic that applies so deep on a level to fatherhood that it's often missed. And it's one of the biggest rewards that we can get, because yelling either teaches our kids to shut down their emotional operating system, or it teaches them to embrace their emotional operating system in life. And we've all met those men and girls that are incapable of experiencing emotion. Most times is someone early in their life took that permission away. I hope this helps. Head over to bencloy.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. This conversation could change your life. There's only a few calls open each week, about 3 or 4. Don't hesitate. Head on over to bencloy.com. Make sure you secure one of these limited spots that's only available to a few select people every week. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Have an amazing day. We'll talk soon.